I sell bao buns at the entrance of the apartment complex. 1 yuan each. The profit is small. I sell a lot, and mostly treat it as something fun. There's an auntie who comes every single day, while eating my buns. She tells the neighbors I use nothing but lymph node meat, rotten black liver, and that I'm vicious to the core. I don't bother arguing with her. Yet she turns around and reports me. The Market Supervision Bureau shows up and says my price is too low and disrupts the market, demanding I rectify it. Fine, I fix it. The next day, buns are 5 yuan each, limited to 100 a day. The moment the auntie sees the new price sign, she loses her mind on the spot. Early morning mist hasn't lifted yet, carrying a faint chill that coils around the parasol trees in the old complex. My breakfast stall sends up white steam drifting through the air, fragrant with wheat flour and fresh meat. Everything is the same as always except for the newly hung sign. White background, black lettering, strokes sharp as blades. Braised pork buns. 5 yuan each. Today limited to 100. Vong K Fan. The auntie who comes daily to freeload appears right on time at the alley entrance. Her cloudy eyes lock instantly onto that glaring sign. 1 second, 2 seconds, the ease on her face freezes, then explodes like boiling water. 5 yuan? The shriek is sharp enough to rip through eardrums and shred the quiet morning. Jianghua, are you crazy from being poor? She takes 3 strides in one and charges straight to the stall, her bony finger practically stabbing my nose. Her wrinkled face twists with fury, lips trembling as she spits vicious words along with flecks of saliva. Yesterday it was 1 yuan. Today it's 5. Why don't you just go rob a bank? I lower my eyes and slowly use the long tongs to turn the buns inside the steamer. The heat makes my cheeks flush. I don't look at her. Don't even say a word. My silence is like pouring oil on fire. You black-hearted thing, rotten-gutted beast. Seeing no reaction from me, she goes berserk and swings her hand to lift the lid of the steamer that has just finished cooking. Inside is today's first batch, 30 plump, snowy buns, the hope of all my regulars. My gaze turns cold, my wrist flicks. The long tongs gripping the still scorching steaming cloth snap up and block her hand. SS's. A faint sound. A piercing scream rips out. Vong K Fan jerks her hand back like she's been electrocuted. A large patch of her skin instantly turns bright red. This time she's really kicked a hornet's nest. She hit me. The dirty bun seller hit me. She plops onto the ground, legs flailing, palms slamming against the cement, wailing to heaven and earth. Anyone would think I hadn't accidentally burned her but tried to kill her. Neighbors and early commuters immediately crowd around, pointing and whispering. Jianghua, why did she hit Aunt Vong? She's old already. Yeah, if there's a problem, talk nicely. Raising prices doesn't mean she had to do that. The murmurs, true or false, prick into my ears like tiny needles. Seeing people echo her, Vong K Fan cries even harder. She's taking revenge on me. I reported her a few days ago for selling too cheap and disrupting the market. Now she holds a grudge and deliberately raised prices to retaliate against the whole complex. Her words are deliberately provocative, and even those who had only come to watch the spectacle start changing expressions. Yeah, that makes sense. Who wouldn't like 1 yuan buns? Now they're 5. Everyone's interests are affected, and the root cause is Aunt Vong reporting her. Now she cleverly plays the role of someone speaking up for the people but being retaliated against, turning me into the enemy of the entire complex. I laugh coldly inside. This woman really is calculating. But I still don't say a single word in defense. I simply take a few sheets of A4 paper from the drawer and stick them onto the iron wall of the stall with magnets. They're copies of the rectification notice issued by the Market Supervision Bureau. Black text on white paper clearly states that because my price was too low and suspected of unfair competition, I'm required to correct it. At the bottom of the document is a bright red official seal. The space suddenly falls silent. The crowd cranes their necks, reading every word, their expressions shifting from blame to shock, then to realization. So it turns out it wasn't me heartlessly raising prices. It was our hero Aunt Vong who personally chopped off the cheap road everyone liked walking. Aunt Vong. This says she really reported her? A familiar neighbor asks in disbelief. Vong K Fan's crying chokes in her throat. Her face flashing red, then white, then green. She clearly hadn't expected me to dare post that. I did it for everyone. Who knows if her meat is clean or not? She still tries to deny it and steer things off track. Oh, come on, Aunt Vong. She eats here every single day more faithfully than anyone. Now she says it's dirty? Someone in the crowd sneers. Vong K Fan's face instantly turns the color of pig liver. She jumps up and points at the speaker, cursing. What are you, you ungrateful thing, biting the hand that feeds you? Like a mad dog with its tail stepped on. She turns and snaps at anyone who dares stand on my side, or simply anyone who read and understood the paper. Right then, the first batch of buns is done. I lift the steamer lid, and the rich fragrance of meat and flour rushes straight into everyone's noses. That aroma is like a wordless declaration. A young man in a plaid shirt squeezes in, not even glancing at Vong K Fan still shrieking. He pulls out his phone, raises it, and scans. Hey, get me 10, I'll scan to pay. His voice rings out, firm and unshakable. Just for the way she didn't bother explaining and still got forced to raise prices like this. I'm definitely buying. After saying that, he scans to pay, grabs the bag of buns already packed, and turns to leave, his back straight with decisive resolve. Seeing the words paid, 50 yuan on his phone screen, Vong K Fan looks like she's been slapped hard across the face. She trembles with rage, finger pointing at me and shaking like a leaf in autumn wind. While I calmly hand buns to the next customer. Though inside I've never felt more steady. This battle has only just begun. Amid the crowd's murmurs, Vong K Fan slips away with an ashen face. But I know with her personality, this is far from over. Sure enough, less than an hour later, bigger trouble storms right up to my stall. A man about 1.8 meters tall and roughly 180 kilos barrels straight toward me. Radiating menace. He wears a wrinkled t-shirt, his hair greasy, his face brimming with hostility. He's Vong K Fan's son, True Dung, a man over 30 who still hasn't worked a day, living off his mother's pension. A giant child who refuses to grow up. Who the hell is the boss here? The moment he opens his mouth, his tone reeks of gunpowder. His triangular eyes, identical to his mother's, sweep over me viciously. I ignore him and keep packing soy milk for a customer. My indifference makes him explode. I'm talking to you, you filthy woman. He roars and swings his leg, kicking hard at the table leg of my stall. Bang! The whole stall shakes violently. The vinegar dish and chili jar on the table crash to the ground and shatter. Customers waiting in line startle and hurry backward. Only then do I raise my head and look at him coldly. That table was custom made. 1,000 yuan. My voice isn't loud, but it's clear enough for him to hear every word. It's broken. Pay for it. True Dung freezes for a moment, clearly not expecting that reaction. He probably thought I'd panic and beg. After that brief stunned pause, his fury surges even harder. Damn you. Today I'm not just kicking a table, I'll smash this whole stall to pieces. He points straight at me, spit flying everywhere. You dare bully my mom? I'll make sure you never sell here again. Change the price back right now, or you'll regret it. Kai Trong from the dry cleaner next door hears the commotion and runs out. She's never liked that mother and son pair to begin with. True Dung, you're a grown man bullying a woman. Don't you have any shame? She plants her hands on her hips and steps in front of me. Move, mind your own business. True Dung, struck right on a sore spot, flies into a rage and shoves her hard. She isn't ready and staggers back several steps, almost falling. That shove is what finally ignites the anger I've been holding in for so long. I'm not some gentle person. Harmony brings wealth is just a mask I use for business. In my bones lives a vicious wolf. And once my limit is crossed, I'll fight back like something feral. Without a word, I turn, Grab the basin of cold water used for mixing dough beside me. Aim straight at True Dung's greasy face. And dump it over him from head to toe without hesitation. Splash. The world suddenly goes strangely quiet. He's drenched like a drowned rat. Water dripping from his oily hair. He stands frozen, stunned like an idiot. A few seconds later he snaps back and howls like a beast. Damn you. He swings his fist toward my face. But that punch never lands. Several male neighbors who had been watching can't hold back anymore and rush forward. One uncle who's just come back from morning exercise grabs his wrist. Young man. A grown man hitting a woman isn't much of a man. A father walking his child to school steps up too. Face cold as stone. Standing beside me, seeing several strong men surrounding him. True Dung's swagger deflates instantly. He really is the type who bullies the weak and fears the strong. Right then, Vong K Fan pops out from nowhere. The moment she sees her son being restrained, she switches into full performance mode. She clutches True Dung's arm and wails to the heavens. Murder. This vicious woman tried to scald my son to death with boiling water. She deliberately twists cold water into boiling water, trying once again to stir up public outrage. But the people around us start frowning, their eyes full of disgust as they look at the mother and son. I let out a cold laugh and pull my phone from my pocket. The moment True Dung kicked the table earlier, I had already started recording. I crank the volume to max and hit play. I'm talking to you, you filthy woman. Bang. The explosive sound of the kick shakes the air. Today I'm not just kicking a table, I'll smash this whole stall. Move, mind your own business. The video's sound and image ring out clearly through the alley. Every threat, every act of aggression is exposed in broad daylight. True Dung's face shifts from furious red to a shamed purple, then to corpse pale white. Vong K Fan's wailing cuts off as if strangled. The neighbors' gazes turn into blades, stripping away the masks of the mother and son piece by piece. You? True Dung trembles, pointing at me, but can't force out another word. I put my phone away and look at him, speaking clearly, each word crisp and final. Pay for the table now. Otherwise we can go to the station together and let the police judge from the video. Under the eyes of everyone, True Dung finally swallows his rage and scans to transfer 1,000 yuan in compensation. When he and Vong K Fan leave, their eyes look like they want to devour me alive. I know this grudge is sealed tight. Business that day isn't affected much, if anything. Thanks to those two performances. More people learn about my bun stall and sales even increase a bit. But inside I feel no relief. Those two are like venomous snakes hiding in the shadows, ready to strike when I least expect it. Sure enough, that very night, a new attack begins. This time the battlefield is the apartment residence's group chat. Kai Trong frantically sends me a dozen screenshots, her voice shaking with anger. Tiu Jiang, hurry and check the group. That old witch Vong started making things up again. I open the images, and nausea mixed with fury surges straight to my head. Vong K Fan and True Dung are smearing me like mad in the 500-member group. They splice together photos, pasting my buns next to pictures of rotten meat and garbage bins. Then assert with absolute certainty that I make buns out of that. True Dung even creates a burner account pretending to be a victim's family member. My wife ate her buns and started vomiting and having diarrhea. She's still in the hospital. Vong K Fan immediately chimes in. I told everyone her meat had problems. Don't eat there anymore. For money she'd do anything immoral. The two of them play off each other perfectly, acting so convincingly that the group erupts instantly. Some residents who don't know the situation start to panic. That's scary to hear. No wonder she sold them for 1 yuan, so that's the kind of meat she used. Everyone, don't buy buns from there for now. Food safety comes first. Panic is contagious. Even though a few clear-headed residents question things, their voices are quickly drowned in the tide of fear and attacks. I stare at the messages, my fingers clenching until they turn white, my heart squeezed tight by an icy hand. I can accept confrontation face to face, but I can't tolerate this kind of cowardly slander behind my back. This isn't neighborly friction anymore. This is kicking over my rice bowl and destroying my livelihood. Kai Trong keeps ranting on the phone, telling me to go into the group and explain right away. But I don't. When people are ruled by emotion, anything I say will be seen as excuses. Arguing with an agitated mob is the stupidest thing you can do. I take a deep breath and force myself to stay calm. Anger solves nothing. I need a powerful counterstrike. I don't reply in the group. I quietly exit WeChat. Then I open a shopping app and urgently order a high-definition wide-angle camera for same-day delivery. The next morning, my business takes a heavy hit. The bun stall that usually has a long line all morning is deserted as an abandoned temple. A few passers-by who don't know what's happening stop to buy, only to be warned off by well-meaning neighbors passing by. Don't buy there, you'll get a stomachache. I hear it all. My face doesn't change, but inside my heart bleeds. My hands never stop moving. I carefully install the new camera on the canopy frame above the stall, angled straight down at the entire prep area. From the dough basin to the cutting board to the steamer, not a single corner is hidden. Then I set up my phone on a tripod at another angle and open a livestream app. No flashy title, just a simple description. Daily Journal of Jeong Hoa's Bun Shop. I say nothing, in front of the small number of viewers drifting into the stream. I quietly begin my workday, washing my hands, disinfecting the table, taking out yesterday's pork shoulder with a clear inspection stamp, rinsing it, trimming it, mincing it right in front of the camera. Fresh vegetables are sliced into fine, even bits. All ingredients are laid neatly on spotless stainless steel trays. Quality obvious and undeniable. I even hold each purchase receipt up close to the camera one by one. Supermarket name, purchase date, product type, everything is crystal clear. I don't defend myself. I don't complain. I just use action, the raw and unfiltered birth of each bun, to show that truth is forever stronger than words. I believe sunlight can wash away any filth and rumor. At first there are only a few viewers in the live stream, probably people who wandered in by accident, curiously watching a woman in an apron silently making buns. But soon someone notices something. This kitchen is insanely clean. Cleaner than my house. That meat color looks so fresh. The owner's knife skills are sharp. Wait, is this angle? She's proving her innocence? Gradually more comments appear. My neat, decisive movements, the freshness of the ingredients, and my silent concentration all seem to carry a strange pull. Someone shares the livestream link into the apartment residences chat group. The group that had been boiling over with talk about dirty buns suddenly goes silent, as if cut off mid-noise. Under the link is a long minute of silence. Then the livestream viewer count starts climbing so fast it's visible to the naked eye. 50, 100, 300. Nearly the entire complex floods in to watch. Vong K Fan and True Dung clearly see it too. Like cats with their tails stepped on. They immediately start raging in the chat. It's fake. She's acting. Props were prepared in advance. Yeah, who knows what's behind the camera? Who's she putting on a show for? Don't believe her. She's a scammer. But in the face of the crisp livestream footage, their shrieking looks pitifully weak and powerless. The residents aren't fools. The cleanliness of the prep table, the freshness of the ingredients, and my practiced skill can't be faked. Not to mention I hold each receipt up to the lens one after another. Then a neighbor watching the stream types a message in the group. I zoomed in on that piece of meat. It has the inspection stamp from the biggest slaughterhouse in the city. Dated yesterday. That can't be forged. That sentence is like a tranquilizer. Public opinion in the group flips instantly. I told you Jeong Hwa isn't that kind of person. That Vong mother and son are vicious. Photo editing and fabricating evidence, that's illegal. Poor owner, being bullied like this and still quietly making buns. Seeing the flood of supportive comments rolling through the livestream, along with the pushback starting to appear in the residences group chat. The tension that had gripped my heart all day finally loosened a little. I stopped what I was doing and walked over to the camera. This was the first time I had spoken since the stream began. My voice was calm, even slightly cold, And I said I welcomed market regulators to conduct a surprise inspection at my stall anytime. As for those spreading fake images and fabricated accusations online, I had already screenshotted every message and reserved the right to pursue legal responsibility. My tone carried no emotion, yet every word was firm and beyond doubt. After saying that, I ignored the comments and turned back to wrapping buns. That strong declaration instantly detonated the live stream. The owner is awesome. Support, defend your rights and make those liars pay. Just this kind of backbone alone makes 5 yuan buns totally worth it. That day, only an hour after going live, my buns sold out again. Many neighbors who watched the stream ran straight over to buy some. They used their actions to show support. And that small broadcast even accidentally attracted a famous food blogger in the city. He sent a small gift in the live stream and left a message. Owner, your story is really interesting. And your buns look delicious. I'll stop by tomorrow, okay? Meanwhile, in the residence's group chat, Vong K Fan was still frantically cursing anyone who dared speak up for me. Her language filthy beyond belief. In the end, the group admin couldn't take it anymore and directly kicked her out along with several of True Dung's alternate accounts. The world became peaceful again. I looked at the notification on my phone that said Vong K Fan had been removed from the group and let out a long breath. I knew this was only a first-round victory. People like that mother and son wouldn't stop so easily. After failing on the online front, Vong K Fan and True Dung went completely unhinged. They no longer dared provoke me openly and instead began plotting more despicable, vicious tricks in the dark. I had a feeling they would target the ingredients I left overnight at my stall. So every time I packed up, besides taking my payment codes and valuables, I adjusted the camera angle and turned on motion detection for night surveillance. That invisible net waited silently for its prey to walk in. On the third night, at 2 a.m., my phone received a motion alert from the camera. I woke instantly, my heart leaping into my throat. I opened the live feed and saw a shadowy figure sneaking up in front of my stall. It was Vong K Fan. She was dressed all in black, wearing a hat and wrapped up tightly. After looking around to make sure no one was there, she pulled a plastic bucket from a black bag that gave off a horrible stench. Under the dim streetlight I saw it was filled with rotten garbage water, mixed with decayed vegetables and other filthy things I couldn't even identify. I didn't need to guess what she planned to do. Blood rushed to my head, anger and disgust churning so hard I nearly gagged. On the screen, Vong K Fan opened the lid of my flour bin and dumped the entire bucket of foul liquid inside. That wasn't enough. She also threw several dead rats into the spice container and the minced meat prepared for the next day. Her face in the darkness looked even more grotesque, brimming with the thrill of revenge. I clenched my teeth, eyes locked on the screen, watching her like a ghost completing every vicious act before silently disappearing into the night. I didn't run downstairs, and I didn't call the police right away. I simply saved the 10-minute HD video and backed it up multiple times. She liked playing dirty in the dark. Then I would drag her disgusting true face into the light at the very moment she felt most triumphant. The next morning, I opened for business as usual. The big food blogger Aluk kept his promise and came to my stall, bringing professional filming equipment. As soon as he went live, more than 10,000 viewers poured in. Many residents and fans also came in person. My stall had never been so lively. Under everyone's expectant gaze, the first thing I did left them stunned. I carried out all the flour, meat, and seasonings that had been ruined and, without hesitation, threw them into a nearby garbage truck. Jianghua, what are you doing? Why throw all that away? Kai Trong asked in surprise. Everyone stared at me, shocked. I just smiled gently, turned toward the camera and spoke to everyone present. I'm sorry, I didn't store things well last night, and I feel the ingredients aren't fresh anymore. In the food business, safety always comes first. You might have to wait today. I'll remake everything with fresh ingredients. My words left both the Xianchong crowd and the livestream stunned for a second before erupting into thunderous applause. The owner has principles. Respect. Just this sense of responsibility alone makes 5 yuan more than worth it. The food blogger also gave a thumbs up to the camera. See that, guys? That's professional spirit. Even at a loss, she won't let customers eat low-quality food. I didn't say more. I simply went back, brought out my untouched backup ingredients, and started again from scratch. The video in my phone was like a ticking time bomb counting down every second. Vong K fan, your public trial is about to begin. The new batch of buns came out quickly. The aroma even richer than usual. Because inside them I had poured all my pride and perseverance. Luke bit into one and his eyes lit up instantly. Wow, guys, this bun, he turned. So excited he almost stammered. Thin skin, packed filling, one bite and the meat juice bursts out. The filling is firm and springy, rich with soy flavor, and the wrapper is soft and fragrant, soaked with broth. This is peak perfection. His praise was lavish, and the livestream comments exploded again. Watching Luke eat is making me hungry. My drool's all over my keyboard. What's the address? I'm booking a ride now. Customers at the stall echoed the excitement, every face glowing with satisfaction. In that moment, my business hit an unprecedented peak. But just as the atmosphere reached its hottest point, a shrill scream suddenly tore through the air. Don't eat it. Her buns are poisoned. You'll die if you eat them. Vong K fan burst in like a demon crawling out of hell. Hair disheveled as she charged forward. She shoved aside the customers in front and pointed at my stall, screaming at the top of her lungs. I saw it with my own eyes. She used dead rat meat as filling. Anyone who eats will die. The shock froze everyone. Even the livestream stalled for a second. All eyes stared in disbelief at her vicious accusation. Seeing the attention fixed on her, she revealed a crazed, triumphant grin. She thought that making a scene and telling lies loudly enough could destroy me. But what she saw instead was my calm, ripple-free expression. I even curled my lips slightly into a faint smile tinged with pity. Vong K fan, are you finished? I asked softly. Without waiting for her answer, I took out my phone and connected it to the mini projector I had prepared earlier. I aimed it at the clean white wall behind me. The next second, a beam of light cast a high-definition video clearly onto the wall. It opened on the scene of my stall at 2 a.m., empty and silent. Then a familiar figure crept into view. It was Vong K fan. In the video, every one of her actions was recorded clearly: opening the flour bin, pouring in a bucket of foul liquid, then pulling dead rats from a bag and tossing them into the meat filling and spice containers. Every detail, every movement drew horrified gasps from the crowd. The video had no narration, yet it was more forceful than any words. When her wrinkled, gloating face was magnified on the wall, both the Xian Chong and the livestream exploded. My God, that old woman is evil. How can a human even do something like that? Good thing the owner threw everything away, or we'd be the ones. Luke stood frozen, holding up his phone to capture the shocking scene for tens of thousands of live viewers. Vong K fan stood stiff as stone, staring blankly at the wall where her own sinister face was exposed. She couldn't understand how something she'd done so secretly had still been recorded. No, not me, that's not me, she shrieked in panic. It's fake. She edited it, she framed me. But no one believed her anymore. Faced with undeniable proof, every excuse became a cheap joke. I turned off the projector and walked slowly toward her, looking down at her pale face twisted with fear and shame. I said, Vong K fan, hell is empty, and all the devils are here on earth. You are one of them. The video was like a bombshell detonating through the entire residential complex. In an instant, Vong K fan went from a bargain-obsessed auntie to a sewer rat despised by everyone. I don't even remember how she fled the scene. I only remember that amid the curses and contempt of the crowd, she scrambled away miserably like a stray dog with no home. From that day on, her world collapsed. Wherever Vong K fan went, she could feel fingers pointing and eyes staring. Neighbors avoided her from afar as if she were a walking plague. When she went to the park downstairs to get some air, The old women chatting there stood up and left, letting her sit alone in silence. When she went to the market, vendors said they were sold out or looked at her with disgust, as if even her money were poisoned. Isolation was the quietest and cruelest punishment of all. The feeling of being abandoned by the whole world hurt more than any insult. But the fatal blow came from her own family. True Dung worked at a mid-level company and needed at least some reputation. The video spread rapidly across forums and social media and soon reached his superiors. His boss called him in and spoke gently, but the meaning was clear. Handle your family matters properly. Don't let personal morality issues affect the company's image. True Dung was practically advised to resign. He lost his job, his only source of income cut off, and his resentment toward Vong K fans surged to its peak. He felt his life had been ruined by his own ignorant and vicious mother. That day I passed under their apartment and heard earth-shaking shouting. "You old thing, why won't you just die? You ruined me, I lost my job, I told you to demand justice, not to do something this disgusting. Now everyone in the neighborhood laughs at me. How am I supposed to live like this?" His roar mixed with Vong K fans' aggrieved sobbing. I only did it for you. I wanted her to sell for 1 yuan so you could eat every day. Eat your damn buns yourself. I never want to hear that word again for the rest of my life." Bang! The door slammed violently. True Dung stormed off as if fleeing a disease, leaving Vong K fan alone in the empty apartment, screaming venomous curses. "Jiang Hua, it's all your fault, you bitch. Even if I become a ghost I won't let you go." I heard it clearly, but inside I felt nothing, no gloating, no anger, only a calm stillness after everything. Those who do evil eventually pay the price. And the heaviest punishment hadn't come from me at all. She had pushed herself into abandonment and rejection with her own hands. As for me, my life kept getting better. My bun stall was doing better than ever. I poured all my energy into my work and erased that mother and son from my world. I thought that was the end of it. But I had underestimated how mad a person could become when driven into a corner. After being rejected by her son and isolated by the neighborhood, Vong K fan's mind was nearly broken. She blamed every failure in her life on me. Then she came up with one last trick, the lowest of them all, staging an accident to frame me. It was the weekend, my busiest time, and I was so busy my feet barely touched the ground. She had chosen that moment carefully. Wearing ragged clothes, hair disheveled, face sallow, she actually looked pitiful at first glance as she lowered her head and slowly squeezed through the crowd toward my stall. When she was about 2 or 3 meters away, she suddenly slipped, her whole body dropping like a weightless leaf straight toward the corner of my counter. "Ah!" she screamed miserably as she collapsed onto the ground, clutching her back and rolling in pain. My back's broken. You hit me. Your stall slammed into me," she shouted while glaring at me with vicious hatred. The look of someone betting everything on a final gamble. She had calculated it well. In a crowd it would be hard to tell right from wrong. She assumed I was just a young woman, afraid of trouble, afraid of being framed. As long as she lay there, I wouldn't be able to clear my name and would have no choice but to swallow the blame. The customers around us were startled by the sudden scene and hurried over to look. Watching Vong K fan rolling on the ground pretending, I wasn't angry anymore, only disgusted and amused. Even now she was still using such filthy tricks. I said nothing and didn't step forward to help her up. I simply stood there quietly watching her perform, because I knew the second wide-angle camera had already captured the entire stall area. From the moment she rushed forward and slipped to the instant she hit the table corner, every detail had been recorded clearly. Her performance was so clumsy it was practically a cheap comedy. Ignoring her groaning on the ground, I took out my phone and opened the video. I didn't play it publicly, because I knew that would only make her more hysterical. Instead I quietly sent the clip to Kai Trong and several nearby neighbors I trusted. I believed ordinary people's eyes were clear, and truth always carried more weight than excuses. The video spread silently from phone to phone among the neighbors. After each person watched it, anger and contempt showed plainly on their faces. Meanwhile Vong K fan kept wailing and writhing, trying to win sympathy. I'm old and still treated like this. Heaven, how can this be so unreasonable? I was hit and she won't admit it. Everyone, please stand up for me. Finally an older man who had just watched the clip couldn't hold back anymore and spoke up. Vong K fan, stop acting. His shout cracked like thunder. Her crying choked off instantly. We all saw the video. Another neighbor added, you ran into the table yourself. You were 2 meters away from Jiang. Yeah, aren't you ashamed, at your age and still pulling something this disgraceful? Accusations rained down from every side. Lying on the ground, Vong K fan looked at the scornful eyes around her and listened to each merciless exposure. Her face turned the color of liver, shame, rage, and fear all surging at once. She wanted to jump up and argue like before. But this time she was too agitated. And after lying there so long her leg cramped. She tried to stand, swayed, and collapsed back down. Crack, a small sound. This time the pain was real. She clutched her ankle and screamed. A heart-rending cry. Her fake act had failed and she'd actually hurt herself. The absurd moment stunned everyone for a second. Then they burst out laughing. Heaven truly had eyes. Someone called True Dung, when he arrived and saw his mother sprawled on the ground in the middle of the crowd like a clown being mocked. His face flushed red with humiliation and pale with anger. He didn't say a word and didn't dare look at me once. He simply gritted his teeth, hoisted her onto his back, and pushed through the crowd. Escaping in silence, their retreating figures were filled with bitterness, shame, and humiliation. Watching them disappear at the end of the alley, I knew the farce that had begun with a bun had finally come to an end. From now on, my world would have no place for those two. Vong K fan and her son seemed to evaporate from the human world and never appeared in the neighborhood again. I heard True Dung took her away to another city because they had no face left to stay. Without their harassment, my life became peaceful and whole again. But that whole chain of events unexpectedly made my bun shop famous. Netizens called me the toughest bun shop owner on social media. I kept the live stream running, and every day tens of thousands of people watched me cook and chat. Many came from across the city just to taste the famous Justice buns. My small cart could no longer handle the growing crowd. With encouragement and help from Kai Trong, I used my savings to rent the long vacant space next door. I renovated it clean and bright, bought more equipment, and hired 2 quick, capable helpers. My Jianghua bun shop officially upgraded from a roadside cart to a professional breakfast shop. Besides the signature braised pork buns, I added soy milk, fried dough sticks, and wontons. Every dish used the best ingredients and all my dedication. Business grew better and better. Every early morning, the line of customers waiting outside became a signature sight of the neighborhood. Kai Trong would often sit inside with a cup of soy milk, watching me bustle around, and say happily, "Tiu Jiang, you're really amazing, turning something bad into something so good." I smiled and handed her a freshly steamed bun. I knew none of this had come easily. It was those baseless malices that awakened my strength and stubbornness. With effort and wit, I had turned crisis into opportunity and made my career soar. Sunlight streamed through the clean glass window, shining gently inside. Looking at the satisfied faces of customers and hearing lively chatter, my heart filled with peace and happiness. This was the life I had always wanted, simple, abundant, surrounded by kindness and the fragrance of food. Just when I thought the name Vong K fan would disappear from my life forever, a ridiculous piece of news suddenly arrived. An old neighbor visiting relatives in another city happened to run into her at a wholesale market there. She was selling buns too. Word spread that when she saw how prosperous my business had become, jealousy burned her eyes red. So she decided to use a person's own method against them. She had True Dung buy her a full set of street vendor equipment. And right at the street corner opposite my shop she opened a tiny bun stall. She clumsily copied every detail of mine, also selling braised pork buns, but priced them at only 4.5 yuan. Hoping that 50-cent difference would lure my customers away. But imitation only copies appearances. To cut costs, she used the cheapest frozen meat, stale flour, and filthy sanitary conditions. Her prep table was always sticky and grimy. With ingredients like that, the buns she made naturally tasted worlds apart from mine. A few curious customers tried them once, but afterward all shook their heads in disgust and came back. What kind of buns are these? They stink, and the dough's so tough you can't even swallow it. They're nothing compared to Jiang's. Gradually her stall became as deserted as an abandoned temple, while the long line outside my shop became the cruelest mockery imaginable. Her awkward, grotesque imitation didn't affect me in the slightest, instead it turned into a long-running joke. It wasn't just a gap in intelligence, but a double defeat in character and vision. When I heard the news, I was in the kitchen testing a new filling recipe. I paused for only a few seconds, then smiled. I wasn't angry, not even amused. I only felt that some forms of misery carved themselves into a person's bones. She would never understand that my success had never come from price, but from respect for food and sincerity toward customers, things she could neither learn nor imitate. I didn't spare her another thought and went back to pouring my energy into work. To me she didn't even qualify as a rival anymore, only a meaningless farce. Vong K Fan's bun stall didn't last a month before collapsing completely. The buns went unsold, the ingredients spoiled, and she took a heavy loss. As for True Dung, thanks to his mother's glorious achievements, he couldn't find any decent job in the new city and could only scrape by on odd work. The resentment in his heart toward Vong K Fan grew deeper and deeper, and he stopped giving her money. Despair and jealousy, like two venomous snakes, slowly gnawed away at the last scraps of reason she had left. That afternoon I was checking the shop's accounts when a frantic figure burst in. It was Vong K Fan. She looked even older and more withered than the last time I'd seen her. Her eyes cloudy and deranged. She didn't apologize and she didn't beg. She rushed straight up to me and poured out, with all her strength, the most vicious and disgusting curses. Jianghua, you filthy bitch, it's you who ruined my life and destroyed my son's. I curse you. I curse your shop to close tomorrow. I curse you to get run over and die in the street. The customers were startled by the sudden scene. A few employees rushed forward to stop her, but I raised a hand. Don't interfere. I simply looked at her quietly, at the woman who had been swallowed whole by the darkness in her own soul. Only after she'd shouted herself hoarse did I finally speak. My voice was soft, but it cut like a blade through the shell of self-deception around her. Mrs. Vong, you threw away your own dignity. You spoiled your son into what he is. The road you walked was one you forced yourself down step by step into a dead end. None of it has anything to do with me. After saying that, I turned back to the counter and continued checking the books, as if she were nothing but a passing gust of wind, an empty space that didn't exist. That calmness, that indifference of mine, became the final straw that broke her. All her hatred, all her madness, struck me like fists punching empty air, unable to make the slightest impact. That sense of helplessness shattered her completely. She stood in the middle of the shop, under the cold gazes of everyone around her, amid the sound of her own ragged breathing, like something discarded by the world. Finally True Dung was called in. He forced her out of the shop without saying a word. Those resentful, unwilling curses gradually faded from my ears and dissolved into the noise of the street. From that day on, I never saw them again. The sunlight was beautiful. I lifted my head and saw, among the line of customers waiting outside the shop, the clear bright smile of a child. I took a deep breath. In the air was the fragrance of food, the warmth of ordinary life. Everything that had happened was already in the past. That's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, subscribe to China Story Tales, and stay tuned for more stories.